Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday, April 1st, No Fooling Rotary Club of San Dimas Zoom meeting. Like to call the meeting to order and let's go around the room and do self-introductions. We will start with, I'm just going to go in order of the Hollywood squares as I see them. We'll start uh, with Dorn Barnes in the top left.
Hey everybody, Doran Barnes with Foothill Transit and other stuff.
And other stuff. I think we can add that to everybody's introduction, but moving right along, Marilyn Sparks.
Hello, Marilyn Sparks, agency owner with Farmers Insurance here in town, Los Angeles County Insurance Commissioner, and other stuff.
Other stuff. All right. Sylvia Melendez.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Sylvia Melendez. I'm the CEO of the San Dimas Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
And other stuff. Raymond Foster for the block.
Hey, Raymond Foster. I'm just an other stuff guy today. Your Zoom master.
All right. Zoom Master. That will work. And Steve Scott.
Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Scott. I am a State Farm agent in San Dimas, been a Rotarian for 16 years or so. A few other stuffs, not as much as a lot of other people in here. We got a few things.
All right. And Ellie.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Elizabeth Sachs, former LASD administration and other stuff. Happy to
Other
be here.
stuff. All right. Welcome. And I'm Mike Wallace. I am the broker owner of Better Home Financial, mortgage and real estate brokerage here in San Dimas. Been a Rotarian for, I don't know, maybe 12 years. We'll just round to 10. So I had the opportunity to go to the Laverne Rotary karaoke night last night. Saw some friendly faces, Sylvia, Dominic, and it was a great event. Passed out some of our cornhole tournament flyers. Got some confirmation from Ken, the owner at Laverne, where he said capacity is around 250, and we could go all the way up to a maximum of 40 teams. So I don't think we have any risk of overselling this, but those are the limits. That's the ceiling. If
Love
we
if
had
we
to
hadn't turned people away.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our featured speaker today. Welcome, Natalie. Unrush yourself, finding your rhythm in a reaction-driven world. I do have kind of a lengthy bio, but why don't I just pass it over to you and introduce yourself and get into it. You can share your screen if you'd like or if you need to.
Hi, yes, I will need to share my screen. Do I have capabilities? Let me see. Share. Here, I just sent a request. And then is my volume okay? Can everybody hear me okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, let's see if I can share now. All right. See my screen? My cheesy smiling face and my poster. All right, so hi everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Natalie Duque. I'm a board certified music therapist, founder of Rhythm and Rise and all other things. Was that the line? And I have a lot that I want to go through and not a lot of time, so I'm going to just jump right in. Thank you so much for having me here to talk about unrushing yourself, finding your rhythm in a reaction-driven world. When you hear the phrase finding your rhythm, what comes to mind? For some people, it might be music. For others, it might be like flow or routine. And for some, it might be completely abstract. And that's okay, because today we're going to break it down and make it more practical. So we're actually going to be talking about 3 kinds of rhythm. There it goes. We're going to be talking about 3 kinds of rhythm. One is external rhythm, like music and movement. So this is rhythm more in the literal sense. For example, clapping, air drumming, or tapping to a steady beat. Then there is your biological rhythm. This is your nervous system. So maybe you consider yourself to be someone who doesn't have a lot of external rhythm. Maybe, I know, Michael, you said you went to karaoke. Maybe people are clapping on beat and you feel slightly off. But I have news for you. You do have rhythm. Your body literally runs on it. Your heartbeat, your breath, your circadian rhythm, and process information and move and just function at our best. The problem is most of us live in someone else's rhythm. We're constantly getting alerts and notifications all day long. A new email, a Slack message, a calendar ping, a news alert. It's never ending. And over time, that external rhythm begins to override your internal one. So that's what I mean by living in a reaction-driven world. That constant reactivity doesn't just affect your schedule, it's affecting your nervous system. The good news is, there is good news. External rhythm can regulate your biological rhythm, which then helps you return to your personal rhythm. In other words, a steady, predictable beat helps the nervous system settle. And when the nervous system settles, you feel less reactive and more like yourself. Now, I'm not saying that you should never have a negative reaction. We're all human. Stress is a part of life. It's going to happen. However, when it does, rhythm is a practical body-based tool that you can use to help feel more aligned and more like yourself. So today isn't about adding one more thing to your plate. I know that your plates are already full. Even in the conversation I heard before coming on, I can hear how busy some of you really are. Today is about understanding how rhythm works in the body and how small intentional shifts can help interrupt stress before it turns into burnout. So before we get into rhythm and the nervous system, I first wanted to lay the foundation of this work by connecting it to mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, or MBCT. I know it's a big fancy word, but really the important thing about it is it teaches one skill: awareness of your internal state. So according to MBCT, we all have this window of tolerance. And the window looks different for each of us. But when we are inside our window of tolerance, that is when we think clearly, communicate our best, and respond instead of react. Psychiatrist Dan Siegel explains this really well with a hand model. So if you put your hand up, fold your thumb into your palm, wrap your fingers over your thumb. Your fingers on the outside, they represent your thinking brain. And your thumb represents your emotional brain. So when you're inside this window of tolerance, your thinking brain acts like this protective lid for your emotional brain. But when you're stressed, there's your emotional brain out in the wild. And this doesn't usually happen from one big thing. It's usually the stacking of a bunch of little things. So for example, let's say you wake up one morning and you had an amazing night's sleep, full 8 hours, deep sleep, you're feeling rested. And you wake up, you're getting out of bed, and you know you shouldn't, but you reach for your phone. And you see you already have an urgent email from work. Stack. Then you're walking to the kitchen to make your coffee, and you step in something wet. And you realize your dog threw up the night before, and now you have to deal with that. Stack. And you finally make it out the door, only to learn that, we're in Southern California. There's road work happening, and now the freeway entrance is backed up, and You're going to be late for work. Stuck. And we just keep climbing and climbing and climbing until all of a sudden we're outside the window and no longer tolerant of life's minor inconveniences. The challenge is that if we don't ever reset, we don't ever return to baseline. And the farther away we get, the harder it is to return. So MBCT helps us to notice our internal state and when we're starting to creep out of our window of tolerance. And that awareness is really foundational because if you don't know what's happening internally, it's going to be really hard to know when you need to reset. So now let's look at what actually does help us return to baseline. For a really long time, I experienced music and rhythm just as something that made me feel better. I didn't know the neuroscience behind why, but thanks to music therapy school and my clinical training, now I do. So here's how it works. When you engage with external rhythm, right, clapping, walking, drumming, you're not just keeping a steady beat. You're activating multiple areas of the brain at once. Parts that are responsible for movement, coordination, communication, emotional regulation. And instead of the brain and body pulling in different directions, they actually start working together. And when that happens, your whole system begins to settle. So if you ever felt calm after a long walk, or like you physically released stress after a night of dancing or karaoke, that wasn't just in your head, that was your nervous system responding to rhythm in real time. So we talked about 3 types of rhythm: external, biological, and personal. We know the importance of being aware of our internal state when we're starting to creep out of our window of tolerance. And now we know a little bit of the neuroscience behind why rhythm can help us regulate our nervous system. We understand the theory, which is great, but theory does not change your Tuesday afternoon when you have a looming deadline and back-to-back meetings scheduled. So how does this actually apply to real life? I faced this challenge during my 6-month music therapy internship at Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. Yes, the days were long, but more than that, they were unpredictable. Each session required me to be fully present and emotionally steady. But there were times where I needed to transition between supporting a family with a difficult diagnosis to then sitting on the floor with an energetic 5-year-old who just wanted to pull out every instrument from my cart and sing all the songs we could about dinosaurs. It was emotional whiplash. And I needed to figure out a way to stay regulated throughout all of it. And I was doing all of the typical things that we're told. I was meditating in the morning and I would go out on my lunch break and get sunshine on my face and go for a little walk. But it wasn't enough. I needed something short and simple that I could implement in between sessions so that I could continue to return to my baseline. And that is when I came up with micro rhythms. So micro rhythms are 5-minute or less rhythm resets. They're short enough for real life to fit into real life and long enough to interrupt stress before it piles up. It doesn't need to be complicated. It could be 5 minutes of steady tapping at your desk, a 5-minute walk to a consistent pace, even if it's looping your office, 5 minutes of breathing to a slow, steady count, or even just listening to a song from start to finish without multitasking. Microrhythms are not about stopping your day. They're about preventing depletion within it. And unrushing doesn't mean being less productive. It means giving your nervous system frequent, small signals of safety because the body has to shift before the mind can follow. So I've done enough talking. We're going to actually feel this in action together. So this first one is called a heartbeat rhythm. I love this one because it's just so simple. I usually start my hour-long keynotes with it because I could do it over Zoom or in person. I could do it one-on-one or with a room full of 500 people. That's how simple and effective it is. So you can do it. I know you can. So feel free to jump in whenever you feel ready. But the heartbeat rhythm, let's see if I can do this. Okay. My camera for some reason keeps tilting up, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2 beats on and 2 beats off. And you don't want to tap so hard that you're hurting yourself, but you want to feel that connection. And as you begin to settle in, start to focus on your breath. Taking deeper breaths, filling up your belly on the inhale, and letting it all out on the exhale. And see if you can notice any areas where you're holding on to a little bit of extra tension. Some of the typical culprits tend to be the jaw. Maybe your jaw's a little tight. Maybe your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears. Maybe your eyebrows are furrowed. That one tends to sneak up on me. And see if you can breathe into those areas. Give them a little bit more oxygen to help them settle. And we'll bring it together in 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Take one more deep breath in and out. I bet you didn't realize that you weren't breathing before this exercise. So that rhythm, steady and grounding, that wasn't about performance, right? It wasn't about who can keep a beat. It's about regulation. Another simple version of this, and one that you might have heard of before, is called butterfly breathing. And with butterfly breathing, you tap back and forth. So you cross your arms over your chest or your shoulders, wherever feels comfortable, and you tap back and forth as you breathe. And this alternating tapping is called bilateral stimulation. Bilateral just means both sides. And by alternating both sides, you're activating both sides of your brain. This is really effective for when you are feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed. Remember earlier how I shared we have these biological rhythms that are happening in our body without us even realizing it? Well, bilateral stimulation mirrors the same left-right rhythm that your brain naturally uses during deep sleep in order to process and release stress. And we're able to access it while we are fully awake and fully functioning. So that kind of rhythm is really helpful for stress and anxiety when we need to calm down. But regulation is not always about slowing down. I'm going to repeat that. It's really important. Regulation is not always about slowing down. Sometimes the body has too much energy. If you're feeling frustrated or agitated. And in those moments, what we actually need is to move the energy through the body. So I'm going to show you a different kind of reset. This is called the activation release. This one is not as inconspicuous as the other one, so you might have to be creative if you work in an office and you need to release some of this extra energy. You don't have to do it with me. I'm just going to kind of like talk you through it so you can do it at a later time, maybe when you would feel more comfortable doing it. But this one, again, it's about releasing and trying to get rid of extra energy when you are feeling this like, oh, sensation. So it's shaking out your limbs and then it's tapping all over your body. So it I'm just going to show you. It's like going like this, like you have slime or goo on your hands, you're trying to get off. Can you tell I have young children? Like slime, get the slime off, and you're going to shake and you're going to shake your hold. Then you get your arms in, and then you're going to do your legs. You can't see my legs, but you shake your legs. Just get your whole body of like, you're trying to get something, there's a bug on you. You're trying to get it off. And you do that maybe like 15 seconds each limb, and then you tap your body. And again, you're trying to move this energy through you, get your belly, and can you see like your belly, get your back, go down and up your legs. Maybe one last shake, and let it go. Take another deep breath. I know it looks really silly, but it is a really effective, and I promise if you try it the next time you're feeling agitated, you will notice a difference. So what we just experienced is a glimpse of regulation in action. Remember, it's not just about calming down, but it's about tuning in and choosing what your system needs. So what I want you to remember from today is that you don't need to slow down the world in order to unrush yourself, although that would be lovely. You just need a few small, intentional moments of rhythm woven into your day. The rhythm you choose doesn't, it does. The rhythm you choose does depend on what you need in the moment. And luckily now you have the awareness to know the difference. MBCT helps you notice where you are, and rhythm helps you find your way back. And when you do, you're not just calmer, you are more yourself. And that is what it means to find your rhythm. So thank you so much again for having me here today. If today resonated, you can scan this code for my Rhythm Reset Toolkit. There's other quick practices under a minute for when life gets chaotic. I also have a bunch of short reset videos on my YouTube channel that you can follow along with. And I do believe I have the activation one, the shaking one on there too, if you needed a refresher to follow along with that one. So thank you again, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
All right, thank you. We'll open it up for questions. Marilyn, I see a hand. Go ahead.
Not a question, but more a relief that I don't have to have any musical talent to do this.
Or rhythm.
Yes. And that's the beautiful thing, about music therapy is that people think, oh, it's a music lesson or you have to know music. It's like, no, music therapy actually, the focus of music therapy is non-musical skills. So regulation can be one of them. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, it always I don't know why, but it always is shocking to me how just taking a couple deep breaths and spending 60 seconds on a reset can just completely change how I'm feeling. I don't know how I went 44 years without knowing that, but it's pretty remarkable what just taking a minute and breathing and tapping can do just to change internally how I'm feeling.
Yeah, we don't realize it. We don't realize we're holding our breath. We don't realize we're just rushing through. It's like this is just life now, right? This reaction-driven world that we're in, like this and this and that. So yeah, it's hard to even think like, oh wait, I'm not breathing. Wait, I'm feeling stressed out right now.
Yeah. Any other questions? Comments? Steve, I see a hand.
How does, like, if you're in a highly anxious state, do you find that different types of music can affect that in a different way?
Well, I for sure preferred music. And again, in the music therapy world, we focus a lot on client preferred music because music that like is nostalgic to you is going to that releases dopamine, and that's going to affect you differently. But we all have different preferred music, so it's not a specific type, it's a specific type for you. For me personally, what I discovered with rhythm is because I have a highly active mind. I'm neurodivergent, and the rhythm, like if somebody just told me to take deep breaths, for me, that's harder. I'm like, okay, I'm breathing. It's still not working. But the rhythm, it's that it has that, it regulates us, right? It matches with our nervous system. And so that for me is the added benefit of instead of just breathing, I'm adding the rhythmic component to it to it's like jumpstart my nervous system, like, hey, we're okay. But yeah, I would say also preferred music. There were times, again, during my internship where I needed to settle and I needed a song with a really strong rhythm. So I would like do the bilateral stimulation. I would lay in the grass, I'd have my headphones on, and I would be tapping back and forth to a really rhythmic song. But there are other times where I needed something that was slower paced. So it goes back to that awareness of your internal state and what you need.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Uh, Ellie, I see a hand. Digital
Just
hand.
yes, I'm just a quick comment. First of all, thank you so much. That it really resonated what you were saying. I'm learning right now about EMDR and self-regulation, and it just so closely aligns to what I'm learning about your brain, a brain, all the different components, kind of trying to get them to work together, and then also opposite, to bring your stress level down. Very, very interesting. And I will be looking at your exercises. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, so EMDR uses bilateral stimulation. So, yes, thank you for making that connection.
And then the YouTube is just your name, right?
Let me see
Natalie,
because
and then Natalie Duque Music.
Duque. Well,
Duque,
no,
sorry.
that's actually because I'm
Oh, is that another one?
in a past
Okay.
life I was a singer, so I can put it in the chat. In a past life,
Yeah,
singer
great.
songwriter, but it's under Rhythm and Rise, which is my
Rhythm and Rise.
yeah.
Okay.
But I will put it in the chat for easy access. There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was putting them on my social media, and I'm like, people, not everybody's on social media. I need to have a better place to have these, exercises that are easily accessible. So I'm growing. I'm continuing to add to my YouTube.
Excellent. Yeah, that really resonated with me. I have a very hard time with smartphone alerts. I feel like I would have thrived in a world where people got in their car and went to work at 9 a.m. and came home at 5 p.m. and you only got a phone call from home if it was an emergency. But this technology that we have where anybody can just reach out and tap you on the shoulder at any given time. It just has my head spinning. And I've just recently started disabling the notifications on a lot of the apps because I also kind of obsess with clearing all of my notifications. So I just your presentation really resonated with me, and I don't know if you could see, but I was getting all kinds of notifications in the middle of your presentation. So
I did not see, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where you left your house and that's it. And that was it. Nobody knew where you were until you got home. And it has drastically changed. And yeah, I know people now they're text messaging you with things. I'm like, how do people get my phone number? Yeah, like stop in the spam. But yeah, and it's hard to turn it all off. And it's hard to not respond to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. That will be an ongoing struggle for me, but it's something that I'm working on, and I really appreciate your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
So we are going to move on to some club business. Feel free to hang out if you want to. If you have other things you need to do, we completely understand, but it's entirely up to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, again for your time.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I do not see our fine master on today, so let's just go ahead and skip through that. Get right back, right down to Action 360 with a food drive recap. Raymond, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, so 7 tons of food. We went 5.5 tons out to uh, 29 Palms, about 3/4 of a ton down to Camp Pendleton. I don't know if I've told, have we had a meeting since the food drive? We talked about what happened?
We had the evening meeting for the food
Oh,
drive
okay.
committee, but not for the full club.
So when we got out to Fort Irwin, they let us right on the base, and we drove up with, we had a big trailer, we had almost a ton of food. And there were tables and pop-ups set up, which was kind of strange. And there were a bunch of soldiers. They were actually waiting in the middle of the street. They unloaded the truck. And then there was a big line of cars. It turned out that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, power had gone out to base housing, and all the food in the refrigerators had spoiled. And so all the families were lining up. That food was gone within about an hour and a half. From our income on the food drive was $10,609.16. Our expenses were $6,674, including we sent $3,000 in gift cards to the 332nd Reserve Air Wing. 19 families we supported to a tune of $150 each. That was a request from the Air Wing. So that was a great food drive. We've already begun planning August. And thank you, everyone. It was great.
All right. Excellent. And it sounded like we we get the Star Post 309 and the sheriffs helping out involved in the spring. But it sounds like we may have some additional support and partnership through, I believe it was the Diamond Bar Group in August. Is that correct?
Yeah, the giant Buddhist temple in Hacienda Heights is committed to the August. And but those of you who don't know, by the way, on that Saturday, the truck got there at 3 o'clock, but the lift gate wouldn't work. It was 5 o'clock before the lift man got there, the mechanic got it open. And so there were four of us to load that truck. I was the youngest one.
Oof.
4 people load that truck, 5.5 tons of food. So, but yeah, like Steve's laughing. So it was, we were working pretty hard. We got that truck loaded out of there. But next August, right, Mike? It's the Chinese Buddhist temple in Hacienda Heights is committed to being one of the major players. But I also got to say that the Jeep Club will be back, the Drifters Club will be back, all those other clubs. So we're pretty confident.
Excellent. All right. Let's see. I'm actually working off of an old agenda. TL's we have
Was it Riley or
Amp.
TLC?
Yeah,
It's TLC.
TLC. Okay. Yeah, let's do we have any information?
No, which I'm taking as great news. I
Yeah.
didn't get any phone calls that somebody missed a bus or there was something problematic. I was going to bring up today, wondering if we want to have the kids in like we've been doing.
Yeah.
And if so, we should probably lock in a date so I can reach out to Anthony and he can pass out that communication to the students that attended. It was 4. For those of you who don't know, we paid for 2. We had 2 alternates. Fortunately for us, unfortunately for other clubs, they had paid and couldn't find students. So our 2 alternates got to go, 1 boy, 3 girls. They were all great. I interacted with them at the orientation. Super sharp kids. Parents were there and really engaged in the orientation as well. So I'm really looking forward to meeting them and hear about the impact the camp had on them.
Yeah, we should definitely do that in person like we normally do. Raymond, take it away.
How about May 6th? That is, the speaker is tentative, so we can move it. That's a Wednesday. We can move it to the evening.
Okay.
And so I can reserve the senior center, and 6 p.m. is a good time, or what do you want to do time wise?
6 p.m.'s fine. I'll email Anthony right now.
I
Okay,
know Benita's on spring break, but that's plenty of time to give notice. It's a over full month, so that
okay,
should work. As long as there's not any school events that day.
all right. It's in the calendar. I will send an email to the senior center this afternoon.
And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that mandatory orientation that only San Dimas attended of the four
Four
or
clubs
five in our
invited to that
group.
orientation: Glendora, Azusa, us, and I think Laverne. And nobody else showed up, but our alternates did, which was pretty cool. And like I said before, we got a point in Regatta's book, and I will take as many points in that book as I can get.
Yeah. I saw Rudy Hayek and Ray Kearney at the event last night. So got some FaceTime with them, and that's always good. They're going to be majorly involved in our area and Rotary next year. So great. All right, I put it on my calendar Wednesday, May 6th, 6 to 7 at the senior center, and then we can plan the details later, but I'm happy to pick up food or sodas or water, whatever we need. So we'll go from there. Let's see here. Next on the agenda, June Assembly. So we won't have a kick-out party unless we get one of those like hotel rotating doors where you kick me out and then I come back, which I'm fine with. That'll work. But yeah, so we should pick a date on that.
We did.
We did. Okay.
Yeah, we have
Right.
June 17th, 6 p.m. at Origins. I want to keep reminding everybody, June 17th at Origins, 6 p.m. And that is a Wednesday evening.
Yeah, I actually already have it on my calendar.
I called them and reserved it already.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that place. I've been impressed with their food, so should be good. Okay, great. Let's see here. Cornhole tournament. So Steve, you want to jump in there, or you want me to take it? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll take it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Raymond, Mike, Dominic, and I met last week. For those of you who didn't attend last year, we had, I think, 30-ish soldiers attend. And it was a really good mix of young men and women. Patrick, I think, told us that we had basically every woman who was on the base at the event, which was cool. But apparently there were some issues from how that all played out last year. So this year we aren't going to have the same level of representation. I believe we're guaranteed to have 4 people from that base. But Raymond, as he always does, is efforting some other people, VA hospital, a few other of the other bases. So we still have, so when our people come who are competing in the event, they see why they're there and where the money's going. That's incredibly important to us. And I think that's why last year was such a rousing success, because we got to play cornhole with the soldiers, thank them for their service. So if we can get a large representation, not just Marines, but Army, Navy, etc., that'll be fantastic. So that part's still in the work, but the event's August 6th. There are a couple things we need
August 1st, I believe.
I'm sorry, August 1st. Sorry about that. Thank you. We need to lock in raffle prizes. So if you know any restaurants, anybody who might be willing to give a gift certificate, something like that in the city, please let us know. We also need participants. It's $100 a team, get you an entry, get you a raffle ticket, get you a beer. for each contestant. So if you know anybody who might be interested, please let us know. Without the amount of soldiers, we're going to have fewer teams, so we really need to fill that roster up. And it's a great event, but we do need raffle prizes. That's a really big part of what we're doing. We also have lane sponsorships available, and if you are interested, or if somebody you know is interested, you can sponsor a team to participate if you're not going to be able to attend. So we'll be talking about this a lot over the next couple of months, but that's just kind of the groundwork of where we are now.
Yeah, and then update last night, we're on the calendar. Ken confirmed that we're on the calendar. He said that he did not have a food vendor scheduled yet that far out for the event, and if we had in mind somebody specifically that we wanted, or a type of food, that he's happy to accommodate that. But he has a couple in mind, and he said it actually would not be the same vendor that we had last year. So, Dominic and I talked to him. Not a big deal. Yeah, like I said earlier, we'll cap the teams at 40, and occupancy for the venue is max occupancy 250. And so we're not worried about overselling this event. But yeah, we definitely need teams. An event like this, I'm always nervous until we have an amount of a respectable amount of teams signed up and committed. So that's going to be the push for right now, and of course, sponsors are always welcomed. Car donations. Raymond, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I met with the Lisa from, she's also Glendora Rotarian. She sent me the contract, which I will present to the board next week, but I want to let you know, this is the website that we'll have a link that'll go specifically to us, but it's able to donate a car or a boat to, and we'll make it to Feeding Military Families, Making Spirits Bright, or the San Dimas Rotary Foundation in general. And then she's also, we are a designated Google charity, and we have a $10,000 budget for the foundation. She's got a fella in Riverside who does her advertising, and we're working on a way where he's going to use that $10,000 in keyword or in Google ads for our donation, or for our Feeding Military Families website. And the only time we'll be charged is when we actually have a car that runs through this. So there'll be no charges to us. We're working on a pretty good contract, which I'm going to ship around to everybody for the board meeting. So it's looking very good. Just want to get you guys look at it in detail, and then get moving forward on it. I know Glendora Rotary is participating, and I led her into a discussion with District 5300 about getting the entire district to participate. The one thing we don't want to do is, we won't be competing with cars for kids or anything like that. We'll be basically, we're going to use our own mailing list. I'm going to work with probably Melissa to develop a postcard that we can send out to the 3,500 people on our Feeding Military Families mailing list. And you know how effective that list is. And it will be solely about donating your car to our function. And so we got all kinds of things we're working on with that. It looks really good. Anybody have any questions right now?
Do we get an annoying jingle?
Yeah. By the way, she's also giving us a 70-30 cut on it. So
Wow.
that's a very good amount. That's a very good amount. 70-30, and the advertising costs are coming out of her end. So except for
Great.
like we do the postcard thing or whatever. So that's great.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see what kind of traction we get on it. But I mean, it sounds like if we get one, it's a win.
Yeah, it doesn't cost us anything. So
Yeah.
yes, if we get one, we win. Yes, absolutely.
All
But I
right.
think we'll get more than one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident.
150 is getting pretty old, Mike. Good place to donate it.
It is. It has about 285,000 miles on it.
So the next thing we have up there, Mike, is Coffee for a Cause.
Yeah.
We started this, our campaign went today. This is the same thing we did, the same group raise we used for the donuts. The problem with the donuts is that, well, it worked once pretty well, but after that, Krispy Kreme is just Krispy Kreme. This is for 334 days, actually almost a year, and it's coffee. And so we sold one bag of coffee so far, and we've raised $8. And so I'm going to send each of you a link to become a team member on this. And I will be sending this out through our email list. And so we have a year to continuously promote this. And as there's money in the bank, they send it to us. So it's another fundraiser for feeding military families. So we've got two things on because we've got a nationwide reach on this now. We get phone calls through the website from all around the country. So we have to have this project and the CARS project help all around the country. We can now fundraise everywhere.
Excellent. And so is it, you said one bag of coffee. So is it like ground coffee beans to make coffee at home, or are they
Right there.
K-cups, or?
No, it's you can see it on the screen. It's a 12 ounces of coffee,
Okay.
and it's ground coffee. It's not a great deal. You can get a much better deal at Smart and Final or at probably Albertsons, but that's really not the point of it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe we should, maybe I'll buy a bag and we can taste it, do a taste test so we know what we're promoting and the quality. Okay. All right. Raymond, do you mind putting up the calendar?
Yeah, for the end of the year, we're getting there.
Yeah, I know. We're already in Q2, April Fool's Day today. So, yeah.
So we have a board meeting next week, and then Elizabeth Sachs will be giving us a presentation on the 15th about her nonprofit with horses. And then we have two other meetings. The California State Treasurer will be at our Rotary Club meeting on May 20th at 12 noon. I think because we answered the phone, I have no idea why. And then we have a great one on June 3rd with Steve Scott, who's going to give a presentation on homeowners insurance in California. And then that's the end of the year. We're starting to work on next year.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Raymond. Four-way test. I'll go ahead and run through it. I have it here on my wall in my office. I look at it all the time. Four-way test of all things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I think of this as a four-way stop. You pass all four of these tests, and you can be reasonably assured that you are acting in an ethical manner and that you are thinking, saying, and doing the right thing. That's today's four-way test. Any closing remarks? We have a couple minutes. Anything that people want to promote? Raymond, I see a hand. We could just go around the room, but we'll start with Raymond.
So I think everybody got the email that the Marine Corps Band is now committed to July 3rd, 50 musicians. And so
Are
the Marine
they
Corps,
coming in a bus?
you know what? I'm going to speak to Jay because I think we need to now have Jay reach out because there's going to be a whole thing in coordinating
There's
the
gonna be a
Marine Corps
parking
Band,
issue.
a fife and drum corps, a classic car display. Yeah, it's a full day now. So I'm excited about that. I think that's that's excellent. That makes it a 4th of July thing.
Absolutely.
Raymond,
Yeah.
thanks for making it happen. That's all you. So thank you.
And we're up to almost $75,000 in committed funds. I spoke to Raging Waters today. Sylvia and I had a 30-minute conversation with them, and so they're all in. And as a matter of fact, I can check, but Kathleen Barger's money should have deposited today also per the ACH we were working on. So everything's coming together very well.
What level did Raging Waters commit to?
Silver.
Silver. All right.
I completed all the forms and we met with their general managers who we met with. So their GM and their operations guy and their marketing guy and a whole bunch of people there.
All right. Yeah, it would have been so cool to see their logo in the sky. That I wish they could have come in
They will be in
at the
red
same
band.
level that I did.
They're not going to be in the
special as you,
sky.
Mike. You're extra special.
Oh yeah.
You know, you are.
Yeah. Um,
I don't see where that she's deposited yet, but they said April 1st, so that should be coming. Anyway, everything's doing well on that as far as I can tell.
all right. Any do we want to stop the recording?
No, this is all community stuff unless you want to stop the recording and have some kind of confidential. Do we need to
Well,
stop the recording?
Yeah, well, I was just going to ask, are there any
All right, I'm gonna stop. Hang on, say goodbye.